As has been said time and time again, it is of the utmost importance that we look to the past to ensure that we learn from our mistakes, to ensure that our future is better than our history, and to ensure that the most horrific and evil elements of history do not repeat themselves. These humbling photos of bravery, terror, and resilience during World War II will hopefully stand as a sobering and timeless reminder of what humanity is capable of. What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome back to Historical Tens. Today, we're going to go over 10 incredible and thought-provoking World War II photos. Make sure to watch until the end because some of the stories will amaze you. So let's start. Number 1. Prisoners as targets. Prior to the outbreak of World War II, several international laws prohibiting the mistreatment of prisoners of war already existed. However, these laws were frequently either bent or completely ignored as the war raged on. Here, Sikh prisoners await an untimely death at the hands of their Japanese captors. Although all participating nations broke the rules to some extent when it came to prisoners of war treatment, most historians agree that the Japanese were the worst offenders. Number 2. Glimpse of humanity. Even during history's darkest hours, there are glimmers of decency and humanity. And although many prisoners and casualties of war were treated horrifically or left to die, some were given a rare second chance at the hands of their enemies. Such luck befell this infant, whom a US soldier is carrying to safety after the Battle of Saipan. Number 3. D-Day. Perhaps the most famous event of World War II, the invasion of Normandy, which was nicknamed Operation Overlord and carried out by the Allies as the largest amphibious assault in history, was launched on the northern coast of France on June 6, 1944. The landing, although ultimately a success, came at the cost of over 209,000 Allied casualties. Many soldiers died before even reaching the beach. Number 4. Easy way out. Of course, a large majority of deaths during World War II took place in the midst of battle or in concentration camps, but there were other ways to die as well. As the war began to reach its inevitable conclusion and it became clear that the Allies would be victorious, many German administrators, such as Ernst Lissow, pictured above, chose to kill themselves rather than face almost certain execution at the hands of the Allies for crimes committed during the war. Number 5. Constant fear. With seemingly endless bombing campaigns reducing cities to rubble, those lucky enough to not be directly engaged in combat still often lived in constant fear of death. Pictured above are British schoolchildren during an air raid drill. It is unlikely that either their wooden desks or their hand placement would have provided much protection if they had suffered a direct hit from a German bomb. And since you already made it halfway through, why wouldn't you consider subscribing? It's completely free, I promise. And by doing that, you'll send me a feedback that you want more videos of this nature. Alright, I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. That's what I'm talking about. Let's continue with the video. Number 6. Seeking shelter. While most schoolchildren cowered under desks during bombing raids, adults who were out and about when terror struck often had to flee to the nearest underground tube station to minimize their chances of being killed, such as these Londoners pictured during a German air raid. While the tube offered a relatively high level of protection, those sheltered there could still find themselves confined to their new tubular home for days, with bombs occasionally penetrating the shallower parts of the stations. Number 7. Compassion. War is hell. It can turn men who would otherwise be kind and loving into barbarous monsters, capable of untold destruction, torture, and inhumanity. Sometimes, however, humanity prevails, as was the case for this German soldier, who chose to relinquish some of his food rations to a starving Russian prisoner of war and her daughter. Number 8. Things are not what they seem. Although it looks as though George is blind, the man facing a line of German rifles in this photo is about to be executed. It was all a lie. The Germans were only attempting to extract information from Blind, a member of the French resistance movement. When Blind refused to divulge what the Germans were after, the guns were lowered and he was instead sent to a concentration camp where he died almost immediately. Number 9. Resolute. In this iconic photo, British prisoner of war, Horace Greeley, stares down one of the top figures of the Nazi establishment, Heinrich Himmler. Seen here touring one of the many German prisoners of war camps in operation, Himmler was the leader of the dreaded Nazi SS and was the primary overseer of the concentration camps that systematically slaughtered millions of people. Number 10. Defeat. As part of the Allies' quest to rid the Pacific of Japanese control, a strategy of island hopping was implemented, which led the Allies to systematically gain control of several prominent Japanese-held islands. One such island was Okinawa. Although the Allies were ultimately victorious, the victory was hard-won, and the Japanese insistence on fighting to the end during this engagement was one of the reasons the atomic bomb was ultimately deemed necessary. Bonus photo. Endgame. Although World War II brought untold devastation in a variety of forms, the devastation of the atomic bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, that was dropped over Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, was the most severe. US officials deliberated whether or not to use the bomb. They finally justified its use on the grounds of it being a necessary evil, as well as the fact that if they didn't drop such a devastating device, the Japanese would continue to fight until the last man, ultimately leading to more death and destruction. So, there you have it. 10 incredible and thought-provoking World War II photos. What's your thoughts on this video? Did you learn something new? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. And make sure to write a comment about what else you want me to make video about. As always, it's been Historical Tens, and till next time, see you.